Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. Rajkumar Academy for Civil Services. Let us discuss today the Hindu newspaper of Delhi edition. The first article of the day, the Center Against Any Ethnic Division says Manipur Chief Minister. We know very well what exactly happening in the region of Manipur in terms of the ethnic clash and violent activities. So the center come up with a rule out dividing Manipur on ethnic lines. Chief Minister Nonthabam Biren Singh said it is not at all possible. So, Home Minister they met yesterday and they completely briefed about the situation which is exactly happening in Manipur, and he said that state territorial integrity will not be compromised. So, which means because of this particular issue in that state, it is not possible for the state to divide the ethnicity into two groups. So, regarding this, you just give a read of this article. Next, if law is drafted well, judiciary won't get opportunity to overstep it, Amisha says. So the law was drafted well by the parliamentarian means. The judiciary would not get an opportunity to overstep it. See, we know very well whatever the law or policies which passed by its outcome of the parliament. While inaugurating a training program of legislative drafting organized by Pride and ICPS for officers of Parliament and state legislature, this statement was given by our Home Minister of India. So, most of the law that we are drafting in the English, but to reflect the spirit of our language is very important as well. Many times there was the intent of the legislator does not match with the English translation of the law. So we do have a difficulty in terms of making that particular bill introduced by the parliamentarians to understand and what they exactly wanted to convey. So the gray areas are the place where the encroachment and the legislation should be drafted in a manner that reflected the complete political will of the cabinet or the parliament. So if the parliament used to draft a bill properly and well, then there is no need of judiciary to get into the overstep it. So don't provide the opportunity, that is the context is all about. Moving towards the next important article of the day, we'll go directly to the editorial page where we need to give attention of the day. First article it is about delving into the verdict on the Shiv Sena issue. This particular topic comes under your general studies too, function and responsibilities of the union and the states, and kind of issues and challenges pertaining to the federal structure. You know about the interesting thing about the Supreme Court of India judgment on Shiv Sena issue is that both sides think that it is in their favor. So what exactly this article is stating about? Here they're talking about validity of whip and floor test. So everything is there, but we need to understand the context of the issue. Remember, the Supreme Court of India has passed anonymous verdict on various issues related to the split in Shiv Sena in June month 2022. So we need to understand the background of the issue. So Uddhav Thackeray became the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, leading the MVA alliance. In 2022, Eknath Shinde and other MLAs went missing, so claiming no confidence in MVA alliance. The Thackeray group initiated disqualification proceedings against all of them, and Mr. Shinde moved to the Supreme Court to solve the dispute. So the governor directed a floor test to see if Thackeray's government still had a support. Here, floor test happened. Yes, and Uddhav Thackeray resigned without facing it. So what happened here is he resigned without facing the floor test to show the confidence. So Election Commission of India allocated the name Shiv Sena and party symbol to Shinde's faction. And Thackeray's side argued that they must be disqualified as their action amounted to the defection. This is what the exact background of this particular issue which happened in the state of Maharashtra. So we need to understand the key observations which are given by the Supreme Court. And here you had a pointer name called whip. See, Speaker of the House must recognize a whip and leader authorized by political party. Based on the party constitution, after conducting an inquiry, the power to appoint a whip and leaders rest with the political party and not the legislature party, as stated in the 10th schedule of the Indian constitution. Right. So this particular article is stating about the whip, and also you need to understand the term called floor test. A floor test is to be conducted by the governor of a particular state only on obtaining objective material to show that the incumbent government, the current government, had lost in confidence of the House. Then this floor test can be called by the governor of the state. Right, so governor plays a key role. The Maharashtra governor Bhagat Singh Koshari was not justified in calling for a floor test on June 30th, 2022, as he did not have any kind of objective material to show that the current government, that is incumbent government, had lost the confidence of the House. So the governor is not empowered to enter the political arena and play a role in inter or intra-party disputes. So the significance of the judgment is about uphold the principles of the constitutional monarchy and integrity of the democratic process. So you need to understand here two terms. One is political party versus legislature party. Political party versus legislature party. Legislature party is a group of elected representative of the same political party. Okay, so whip also you need to focus here, and you just focus on the defection concept as well. So these are all the value added and background of this particular article. Okay, just go through this so that you will get an idea about what exactly the provisions are of the different sections under this particular issue. Next, a court recall that impacts the right of the accused. Supreme Court of India on May 1st seeking to recall its own decision in Ritu Chanbaria versus Union of India upon the insistence of Solicitor General of India, Tushar Mehta. So what exactly here it is about facing difficulties has caused concern among the legal professionals. This is about right to a fair trial, or we can call it as right to default bail. So, right to statutory bail, often known as default bail, is available to accused person in case when the investigation agency fails to complete its investigation with the stipulated time. If anybody get arrested or accused, the agency, such any like police or CBI or CID, if they fails to complete the investigation within the given time period, then the default fail come as a right. Section 167 class 2 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, maximum time available to the investigators, it's about 2 months to 3 months. That is the 60 days or 90 days, depending on the seriousness of the offenses. In this particular article, you need to understand one thing which is known as a right of an accused. So you just go through this particular article and about the Ritu Chabaria case, you will get to know about what exactly it is happening. So this is your context of this article, but you need to have the value added information here, right of accused. Even the accused also have the right. What is that? Let us have a look. Article 22 of the Indian Constitution confers the rights on a person who is arrested or detained under an ordinary law. What are all the circumstances? The first one is about right to be informed on the of the grounds of arrest. If anybody is arresting a person as accused, on what grounds that they are getting arrested. So, right, the accused person have to be informed on what ground they are getting arrested, and right to consult and be defended by a legal practitioner. So, the accused person has a right to be defended by a lawyer. Okay, that is called the legal practitioner. Right to be produced before a magistrate, before a magistrate within 24 hours, excluding the journey time, excluding of the journey time. Within 24 hours they're supposed to, like, produce in front of the magistrate. Next one is about right to be released after 24 hours, after 24 hours, after 24 hours, unless the magistrate authorizes the further detention. If magistrate not authorizing further detention, within 24 hours, the accused person is supposed to get released. It needs to be noted that above safeguards are not available to an enemy alien or person arrested or detained under the prevention detention law. It is not applicable for these two categories. This is popularly known as what? Right of accused. This is the major theme of this particular article. Just go through it. Article 22 of the Indian Constitution conferring the following rights, the four rights for the accused person in India. Yes, moving towards the next article, it is related to the text and context page on sexual harassment in the workplace. Here, how did POSH Act come into being? How does it define sexual harassment and the workplace? What does it require employees to do? What are the serious lapses flagged by the Supreme Court? What have been the hurdles to the law implementation? These are all the major area this particular article is focusing. If you give a read over it, then complete detail of this particular article can be known. So, 10 years after Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013 came into force, the Supreme Court Bench of India has said there are serious lapses and uncertainty regarding the implementation. It's been 10 years this act was passed, but since that is facing serious lapse in terms of implementation and uncertainty, that is the context is about. We'll look into the background of this particular article. Right. So, the Supreme Court in the landmark judgment Vishaka and others versus State of Rajasthan 1997, a case gave Vishaka guidelines. These guidelines formed the basis for the sexual harassment of women at workplace. So based on this guidelines only, Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013, popularly known as Sexual Harassment Act. It came into existence to provide a mechanism to act define sexual harassment at the workplace. So every employer to constitute an internal compliant committee. Internal compliant committee. So that is one of the guidelines, compliant committee. The compliant committee have the powers of the civil courts as well. And the compliant committee are required to provide for conciliation. Before initiating any kind of inquiry, there should be a requested by the complainant, and also penal provisions. penal provisions and responsibility of the administration. So you need to understand that this particular article is talking about not implementing it properly. So there is a proper need implementation, particularly one of the popular committee name called J.S. Verma Committee, which is provided the complete recommendations to make this particular act effectively related to the sexual harassment at workplace. So, what is the first recommendation given by them? There should be a employment tribunal. This employment tribunal setting up of an employment instead of internal compliance committee so that it's easy for them to go and file a complaint. Power to form own procedure because we need to get a speedy disposal of complaints. The committee proposed the tribunal should not function as a civil court but may choose its own procedure to deal with the each complaint. Then expanding scope of the act. Expanding scope of the act. It is about like how to say domestic workers should be included with the purview of the act as well. The committee said any unwelcome behavior should be seen from the subjective perception. Then it is about the responsibility of the employer. Responsibility of the employer. See, the Verma panel said as employer should be held liable if he or she facilitated sexual harassment, permitted environment where sexual misconduct, or employer fails to disclose company's policy, the employer fails to forward complaint to the tribunal. All these are the responsibilities of the worker to make sure the tribunal come to know about the problem faced by them. So, if we implement the way forward as the recommendation given by J.S. Verma committee to make this act effectively in the workplace. For you, value added, just read about She Box. It's one of the important, you know, initiative by Ministry of Women and Child Development. Sexual harassment electronic box. Just surf on internet related to She Box. Moving towards the next article. What are the gaps in the AEPS transaction model? AEPS transaction model. See, this article it is about what is mean by Aadhaar enabled payment system, that is AEPS, and how are the cyber criminals using Aadhaar for financial fraud. Right. So, what is AEPS and how it is enabled by default? How the biometric information is getting leaked, and how do you secure your Aadhaar? These are all the four major areas that they are focusing in this particular article. I'm going to give you the value added information regarding the Aadhaar enabled payment system. So, what is this Aadhaar enabled payment system? It is developed by the NPCI, that is National Payments Corporation of India. It was developed by NPCI. So that allows people to carry out financial transactions on micro ATM. Micro ATM. Okay, by furnishing just their Aadhaar number and verifying it with the help of the fingerprint or iris scan. With the help of this payment system, fund can be transferred from one bank account to another simply through their Aadhaar numbers itself. Right, this system adds another layer of security to financial transaction which is known as bank details would no longer to be required to be furnished while carrying out the transactions. This is known as what? Your AEPS. In this kind of transaction, there is a cyber crime activity that people are no taking the money. So leaking the Aadhaar and also taking the money from their respective accounts. So how we can overcome of this particular issue? Just go through this. See, for you add on to this, you need to understand about the digital payment transactions. because in India it is tremendous growth, right? You need to know about what are all the new payments mode that India do have, how that India is getting tremendous development in terms of this. So make a note of it and study on your own. Beam UPI, then you know about Aadhaar enabled payment services. NETC, that is National Electronic Toll Collection. Next one is NPCI, that is National Payment Corporation of India. Then UPI, Unified Payment Interface. These are all the major concerns, like major initiatives taken by the government to make sure the digital transaction of India should be more strong. So go through this article so you will get an idea about how the biometric information is getting leaked. Next article, it is about what is transformer, the machine learning model that powers Chat GPT. In this article, I'm just going to give you the importance of Chat GPT because it was there in the news. It's open AI, artificial intelligence. See, the Chat GPT can answer follow up of questions. Whatever questions you ask, it comes with the data and also admit its mistakes, challenge incorrect premises as well. It is based on the company's GPT 3.5 series of LLM, that is language learning model. So GPT stands for generative pre-trained transformer 3, and it's kind of a computer language. It's kind of what? Computer language that relies on deep learning techniques. So deep learning techniques to produce a human-like text as an output. Okay, the chatbot was also trained using reinforcement learning from the human feedback. So it's a real-world application such as digital marketing, online content creation, answering customer service queries, and some user have been found even it is help debug code also. These are all the major information that so far popularly gathered by the people using ChatGPT. It can also be used to write code. Okay, so you need to understand that as well, right? So these are all the major information that you need to understand. We supposed to have the two platform here, advantages and disadvantages. See, it is more convenient for providing customer service support 24 bar 7, and also, like 24 hours a day, 7 days in a week, and also free up phone lines and are far less expensive, so less expensive as well. And using artificial intelligence, natural language processing, chatbots are becoming better understanding the way customers want. And companies like chatbot because they can collect data about all customer queries and response lead time, and also customers get satisfaction, so on. These are all the advantages. What about the disadvantages? Even with the natural language processing, they may not fully comprehend the customer's input and may provide incoherent answer. And many chatbots are limited in scope queries that are able to respond to, and expensive to implement and maintain. Okay, expensive to implement and maintain, and challenges AI metamorphing into sentient or for in the future. However, unethical AI perpetuating historical bias and echoing hate speech that real danger to watch for. These are all the advantage and disadvantages of this ChatGPT. Right. So these are all the major topics that we need to focus for the day and go through all these topics. Other than that, not much important topic for the day where you can give attention. That is, yes, Mega Milk Agro Corp set up joint venture in plant-based food sector. So Mega Milk Snowboard Brand Company recently announced they are going to partnership with the AgroCop International for the purpose of Singapore based agriculture commodities company for the purpose of joint venture will manufacture and market plant based food ingredients. Just go through this article. Then one stop centers for zero waste to be launched in cities. So, cutting down waste generation in urban India, the government is going to launch a new initiative named called One Stop Centers for Zero Waste. So, the citizens can deposit old clothes, shoes, books, toys, plastic that can be reused or recycled. This is very good initiative, and these special reduce, recycle, or reuse centers are to be launched nationwide on May 20th. That's all for the day. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay tuned. Thank you.